Imagine this. You walk into a room. It's nothing special, just another Tuesday. Another collection of tired faces buried in phone screens and lukewarm coffee cups. You don't say much. Maybe a polite nod. Maybe less. But something strange happens. A few people glance your way, not once but twice. Someone brushes past you, slightly closer than needed. Another fumbles their words around you. One person smiles a little too long. It's subtle, almost forgettable. Yet something inside you notices. A tension, a question. Did they just notice me? But here's the real kicker. You don't feel particularly attractive. You didn't try to be. No fresh haircut. No designer clothes. You're not even sure you like the way you look today. And yet the air shifts when you enter. People lean in. They remember your name. They laugh too hard at your jokes, or they get awkward, flustered. They avoid eye contact or hold it just a second too long. It's as if something beneath the surface, something unspoken, is drawing people to you. So now you start wondering, what if attraction isn't always loud? What if it's silent? What if it whispers instead of shouts? And what if the world has trained you to ignore that whisper? We're taught that attraction is about the obvious, beauty, confidence, style. But those are only the visible metrics, the convenient ones. What if the truth is far more elusive, hidden in the way someone stares when they think you're not looking, or the way their voice shifts ever so slightly when they speak your name? Because the real signs, they're quiet. They live in the periphery of our awareness, in the micro-expressions, in the words left unsaid, in the moments where logic falters and instinct takes over. And here's the paradox. You could be walking through life thinking no one really notices you, while secretly, you are the epicenter of someone else's inner storm. Isn't that unsettling? That your presence, your raw, unfiltered self, might be affecting people more than you realize, and you're completely unaware of it. It raises a haunting question. What if you've been attractive all along, but you've been looking for the wrong signs? We live in a world obsessed with validation. Likes, swipes, compliments, digital tokens that scream you matter. But the real signals of attraction don't come in neon colors. They come wrapped in confusion, hesitation, vulnerability. They don't say "I want you" out loud. They say it in a language that most of us have never been taught to understand. And that's the tragedy. Because if you can't recognize the signs, you can't respond to them. And if you can't respond, you'll miss connection after connection, moment after moment, all while convincing yourself you're invisible. So the real challenge is not to become more attractive. The real challenge is to notice what's already happening around you. To wake up. To stop believing that attraction only belongs to the loud, the perfect, the curated. Because real attraction, the kind that shifts the air and silences a room, is primal, unpredictable, and often hidden in plain sight. And now the question deepens. What if recognizing these hidden signs could change how you see yourself forever? Not just in romantic terms, but in how you carry your own presence, in how you stand in a room, in how you understand your power. Because if people secretly find you attractive, and you're blind to it, then you are living a life of unclaimed power. That's not just a missed opportunity. That's a kind of quiet tragedy. So what are these signs? What does real secret attraction look like? Not the obvious kind. Not the scripted smiles or hollow flirtations. I'm talking about the signs that reveal something deeper, a gravitational pull. You're about to find out. But here's a warning. Once you see these signs, you can't unsee them. They will change how you read people, how you walk through the world, how you interpret every glance, every pause, every stumble in conversation, because people are speaking to you all the time. Just not with words. Let's begin. Let us uncover the first 3 signs starting with something you've probably seen but never fully understood. Are you ready to see the invisible? Number 1, they get nervous around you. So it doesn't look like what you'd expect. Not flushed cheeks and giggles like in a romantic comedy. It's far more subtle, more human. Think of someone who fidgets when they speak to you. They might adjust their sleeves, touch their hair, avoid direct eye contact. Or the opposite. They may stare just a little too long, eyes searching for something, before quickly looking away. Why does this happen? Because real attraction dismantles control. When someone finds you genuinely attractive, they lose a bit of their composure, not out of weakness, but out of vulnerability. It's not that they're afraid of you, they're afraid of how much they want your approval. That makes them self-conscious. Their hands don't know where to go. Their words get tangled in hesitation. Some will mistake this nervousness for disinterest or awkwardness. Don't. Nervous energy is often repressed passion, too unsure to speak its name. Here's a deeper truth. Attraction destabilizes the ego. When someone feels it, they become aware of themselves in ways they usually don't. Suddenly, their voice sounds too loud. Their laugh feels strange. Their silence becomes unbearable. And you become a mirror they didn't expect to look into. If someone around you seems just a little more clumsy, uncertain or self-aware in your presence, don't ignore it. That tension is trying to tell you something. Number 2, they mirror you without knowing it. This one lives in the unconscious mind. You cross your legs, they do the same. You lean forward, they follow. You laugh, they smile. This isn't mimicry. It's chemistry. Psychologists call this limbic synchrony, when two nervous systems begin to subconsciously align. It's rooted in empathy, but attraction amplifies it. Because when someone is drawn to you, their brain wants to create rapport, connection, safety. And one way it does this is by subtly syncing up with your rhythm. It's like a hidden language, one most people don't even realize they're speaking. Mirroring is especially telling because it's almost never intentional. People don't practice it in the mirror. They don't rehearse it. It emerges organically from the body before the mind can catch up. The next time you're with someone, observe quietly. Notice their posture, their tone, their gestures. If they start reflecting your energy, even in small ways, that's not coincidence. That's resonance. And resonance means one thing: emotional alignment. You're not just being seen, you're being felt. Number 3, their energy changes when you enter the room. Picture this. You walk into a group setting, nothing dramatic, but suddenly a conversation slows down. Someone's eyes widen slightly, a back straightens, a voice lifts. It's the shift. Energy doesn't lie. Even when people try to stay composed, their bodies betray their excitement or their anxiety when someone they're drawn to appears. This could be someone suddenly laughing louder, speaking more intelligently, or offering you a chair even though there are 10 empty ones. Or it could be the silence, the way someone pauses mid-thought as you walk past, like their brain just skipped a beat. Now here's the twist. You may have conditioned yourself to ignore this. Maybe because you were taught not to assume, or maybe because you've been rejected before, and now your radar is dull. But people's energy doesn't shift randomly. There's a reason a room feels warmer or more alert when you walk into it. It's not arrogance to notice it. It's awareness. Some people carry a presence that doesn't scream, it pulls. And if you're reading this, chances are you felt that shift without ever knowing it was about you. Here's a deeper insight. Attraction often shows up, not in how people treat you one-on-one, but in how the room responds to your arrival. The glances, the sudden pauses, the recalibrations. You don't need a spotlight to be magnetic. Sometimes the silence is the loudest signal of all. Before we move on, pause. These three signs, nervousness, mirroring, and energy shifts, are powerful. But their true meaning is only clear when you understand the root cause. Why does attraction hide like this? Why do people bury it under layers of subtlety, rather than just say how they feel? That's what we'll explore next. But first, if this is already opening your eyes even slightly, subscribe. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but because understanding this invisible language of human attraction is not a trick. It's a transformation. And the next part, we will dig into the deep psychology, what Carl Jung, Nietzsche, and Jordan Peterson might say about why desire disguises itself. Here's a bitter truth. Desire hides. It hides behind politeness, behind sarcasm, behind indifference. Sometimes it hides behind cruelty. But why? Why would someone repress something as deeply human, as fundamentally biological as attraction? Because attraction, true soul-level attraction, is dangerous. It threatens to unravel the self. It brings the possibility of rejection, humiliation, exposure. And most of all, it forces us to confront something terrifying: vulnerability. Carl Jung believed that we spend most of our lives projecting parts of ourselves outward, hiding the pieces we fear, repress, or do not yet understand. The shadow, he called it. Attraction is often part of that shadow. Why? Because to admit we are drawn to someone is to admit that someone else holds emotional power over us, that they could hurt us, that they could not choose us. So instead we armor ourselves. We flirt and then pull back. We compliment and then mock. We lean in only to run. In his writings, Friedrich Nietzsche warned of the will to power, our fundamental drive to assert control over our lives, over others, over our own chaos. But desire is uncontrollable. It is irrational. So we suppress it, disguise it, bury it beneath ambition, sarcasm, even morality. We live in a paradox. Society tells us to chase love, beauty, connection, but punishes raw emotional exposure. You're supposed to be confident but not needy, honest but not vulnerable. So what happens? We become experts at hiding how we feel. This concealment isn't cowardice. It's a survival instinct. Imagine the middle schooler who got mocked for liking someone out of their league, or the adult who opened their heart once, only to be ghosted. These emotional wounds leave traces, deep ones. Our subconscious mind remembers, even if we pretend not to. And each time we feel attraction again, the brain consults its archive of pain, calculating risk before expression. That's the hidden problem. Attraction becomes entangled with fear. We don't want to feel foolish. We don't want to feel small. We don't want to be the one who cares more. And here's the thing that Jordan Peterson might argue. In a chaotic world, humans crave order and competence. Love, attraction, vulnerability. These feel like chaos. So people pretend not to feel. They wear masks. They maintain eye contact just long enough to seem confident, but break it before it reveals too much. They send mixed signals not because they are cruel, but because clarity is terrifying. Jean-Paul Sartre once said, "Hell is other people." But perhaps the real hell is the space between two people who secretly want each other, yet are too afraid to act. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of pessimism, had an even darker take. He believed attraction was nothing more than biology's trick, an illusion to get us to procreate. In his view, our desires were not noble, but manipulations of the will to live. If he were here, he'd say, "You think someone is attracted to you? No, they're caught in nature's trap like you are." But Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust and yet still believed in the transcendent, purpose of love offers another path. He said that love is the ultimate way to grasp the essence of another human being. Not in domination, not in fear, but in presence, in truth. So now we have a conflict. Our culture teaches us to chase love, but punishes openness. Our psychology wires us for connection, but scars us with rejection. Our intellect tells us to be rational, but desire laughs at reason. No wonder people hide their attraction. No wonder someone can find you captivating and still act distant. No wonder you can walk through life being quietly desired, yet never know. Because people are not just afraid of you, they're afraid of what you represent. A mirror, a risk, a door to something real. And in a world full of filters, scripts, and surface-level interactions, something real is the most frightening thing of all. But this fear has consequences, and that's where we go next. Because when attraction remains hidden, it doesn't disappear, it mutates. It turns into confusion, jealousy, even resentment. The world is full of people silently suffering. In the presence of those they love, let that sink in. Now we arrive at the final and most emotionally intense part of this journey, the unseen. Consequences of hidden attraction and the ultimate realization it leads us to. Let's begin with a brutal observation. Most relationships never happen. Not because people aren't compatible, not because they don't feel something, but because no one ever says anything. The moment passes. The words are swallowed. The silence is chosen over risk. And just like that, the story dies before it begins. You might think silence is safe. That repressing your attraction is noble or wise, or at the very least, smart. But make no mistake, silence is not neutral. It has consequences, real ones. And here's the first. Unexpressed attraction becomes inner conflict. Your subconscious knows when you're drawn to someone. But if your conscious mind refuses to acknowledge it, out of fear, shame, or social programming, it creates an emotional split. You're living two truths at once. One that pulls you forward, and one that tells you to stay silent. That tension becomes anxiety. It festers, and over time, it begins to affect your self-image. You start to ask yourself, why do I never connect with anyone? Why do people seem distant? Am I invisible? And yet the truth is, you've been seen many times. You've just been trained to ignore the signs. Here's what happens when people don't feel allowed to express desire. They get bitter. They lash out. They become sarcastic, passive-aggressive, or hyperlogical. Attraction that is denied doesn't fade. It twists. It hides behind cruel jokes. It hardens into coldness. It builds walls so high even they forget what they were protecting. And now we shift to the societal level. Our culture is deeply uncomfortable with honest attraction. We're taught to either exaggerate it into spectacle, hypersexual media, or deny it. Altogether, stoic professionalism. But rarely are we taught how to sit in the middle space, the quiet, powerful tension of real connection. So we misread signals. We assume the person who's nervous around us is uninterested. We think the one who keeps their distance doesn't care. We laugh off the one who stumbles over their words or say they're weird. But these are often the people who feel the most. And in a world that doesn't know how to interpret subtlety, the most sensitive people suffer the most. There is a silent epidemic of people walking past each other, aching to connect, but too afraid to break the pattern. Neurologically, this fear is tied to the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. To the brain, social rejection is experienced almost identically to physical pain. That's why even the thought of telling someone you're attracted to them can feel paralyzing. We crave love yet avoid vulnerability. We want to be seen yet we hide. We are starving for authenticity, but addicted to safety. Do you see the trap? You may have been desired for years, admired, fantasized, about respected, wanted, and yet never known it, because the other person was as afraid as you. So what's the ultimate truth? It's this. Attraction is not always expressed because it's sacred. People don't always say they find you beautiful because beauty terrifies them. They don't flirt because they feel too much, not too little. They don't look at you because if they did, they'd have to admit to themselves that they see you, really see you. And that would unravel everything they've built to protect themselves. The masks, the emotional walls, the illusion of control. Because you, yes, you represent something they didn't expect. A mirror that reflects their deepest hunger to connect, to be known, to be loved without armor. And here's the poetic tragedy. You may have spent your life thinking you were overlooked, when in truth you were seen too clearly. So clearly, in fact, that it scared people into silence. Now you have a choice. You can go back to sleep to pretend that no one feels anything, unless they announce it on a neon sign. Or you can learn to read the quiet signs. You can open your perception. You can become fluent in the language of energy, posture, hesitation, and gaze. And when you do, you'll realize something profound. You are not invisible. You are not unwanted. You are simply surrounded by people who are too afraid to show you the truth. But now you know it, and knowledge is power. Power to connect, power to respond, power to own the space you occupy in this world, not by demanding attention, but by recognizing the quiet ways people already give it to you. The most attractive people are not always the loudest. Often they're the ones who walk softly, yet shift the air wherever they go. That might be you. So the next time someone stumbles their words around you, the next time someone's energy shifts when you enter the room, the next time someone looks away a little too quickly, don't assume it means nothing. It might mean everything. Now ask yourself, how would your life change if you stopped ignoring the subtle signs and started trusting them? Because the truth has been there all along. It's just been whispering,